Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Ultra League Premier Cup. This cup is not going to allow you to use any kind of legendary Pokemon or mythical Pokemon or Ultra Beast. You kinda know the drill. So, only normal Pokemon that you can just catch, like, normal Pokemon. So, if you enjoy this type of videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. We're going to take a look now at the meta real quick and see what can change as well with the move updates, which were not really impactful. But yeah, let's take a look at the meta and then we're going to go into the top 10 teams. Taking a look now at the Ultra League meta for the Premier Cup here, we're going to see that basically everything is kind of the same as before. Like, there's not really a lot of changes. You're going to see that Lantern is a little bit further down now, which is kind of good because Spark Lantern was actually one of the broken Pokemon for this cup, and now it's not going to be as viable anymore, which also kind of destroys some electric type Pokemon. Like, there are not really a lot of good electric type Pokemon other than like Magnezone or the Galvantula or maybe the Ampharos, but there's not really a lot of electric type Pokemon around and quite a lot of water type Pokemon around here now, which is going to be something that you can see here for sure. In terms of buffs of this season, there is not really quite a lot of them. You have to scroll down quite a little bit to see something like a Scrafty getting Thunder Punch, which might be interesting. Obstacle actually quite high here as well, which you're going to have, I think, a team as well for. And also we're going to see other Pokemon here that we already saw previously, but you don't really see any kind of fire type named Typhlosion, which is like the one that most people are kind of most excited about. You have to scroll down quite a lot of times here and then you're gonna see it at rank 112. Again, this season's meta update is not going to impact most of the metas. It's most likely going to be very similar to last season. It is what it is, so we're going to try our best here today. We're going to have 10 top teams here as well, also with a lot of other Pokemon, like also the Lokix, which is going to have counter now, which is not too great sadly for this one as well. I feel like it's maybe even better in the Open Ultra League, and it is not. But it is what it is. Let's move on to the top teams. Moving on to team number 1, we're going to have a team here around Cetitan. Cetitan is going to be an ice type that now got access to the move Powder Snow. Powder Snow going to make this Pokemon way faster and also way more viable for the, Ultra League and for the Great League. We already had a video for the Great League early on, definitely check it out. But here we're going to see a team that you can run with the Cetitan. We're going to have the Jellicent in the lead as your answer for like fire type Pokemon or fighting type Pokemon. Those are the Pokemon that Cetitan definitely does not really want to face. Also Steel as well as Rock is something that Cetitan doesn't want to face, and Jellicent can beat all of those. That's why kind of Jellicent is the perfect core for Cetitan. We have a Sasop here of Mandibuzz. There are other options that you can use as well here, like the Skeledirge or like a Greedent, different kind of Pokemon that you can use that kind of maybe bait out potential Pokemon that Cetitan does not want to face. Mandibuzz, for example, can bait out certain fighting type Pokemon which think they have a better matchup against a Mandibuzz compared to a Jellicent, and also like something like a Rock type Pokemon, whatever, they kind of want to swap in against you as well, or even Steel type Pokemon thinking that they're good against a flying type Pokemon. But no, the Mandibuzz is kind of a very decent Sasop here in this meta anyway. They're quite only a few fairy type Pokemon around here, like the best fairy type Pokemon for the Ultra League, the Tapu Fini, is banned anyway. So yeah, unless people are running Charmer or like maybe a Clefable, this is not going to be an issue. And so this team should be kinda nice in general. Moving on, we're going to have Goodra here. Goodra in a very classic line with a Skarmory in the lead, or like the Empoleon, the cheaper variant. Skarmory is quite decent to be fair. Like, Skarmory is really good with the Steel Wing and the Ultra League, as you can see here as well. Again, if you have not built a Skarmory yet, I would maybe hold on to it, because I would imagine that this is going to be the final season of Skarmory being completely dominant. It's still going to be good afterwards, so like you can still build if you want to. You need a hundo for the Ultra League, but I would imagine there's going to be a nerf next season towards Skarmory. It is quite predictable, so yeah, enjoy Skarmory as long as you can, because like this Pokemon is very likely not going to be as dominant next season, I would imagine, but this season it's still going to be one of the best Pokemon that you can use in both Great League as well as Ultra League. Of course, Goodra getting Community Day. I already made a video about if Thunder Punch is going to be great for each league or whatever, and for the Ultra League I would not recommend you to go for Thunder Punch, as Power Whip seems to be the better option, or Draco Media if you want to have some big damage. Thunder Punch only really decent for the Great League in the 1 and 2 shield scenario, or for the Master League Premier Cup if you don't want to watch the video. Anyway, let's move on to team number 3. Team number 3, we're going to have the Shadow Claw variant of the Thunder Punch variant of the Typhlosion. Thunder Punch on this Pokemon is actually this time around an upgrade compared to Goodra. This Pokemon does not have a cheaper fast charge move to go for, and it's quite decent for Shadow Claw especially, that you only need 5 of them to go for the Thunder Punch. And that's kind of why you want to use it as a Say Swap. Here, this is kind of similar to a team that I already had in the Great League, which with basically the Typhlosion as a Say Swap with Thunder Punch as well as Shadow Claw, because your lead Poliwrath is going to be the hardest answer kind of for the Feraligatr. You can bait them out with the Typhlosion and then kind of try to sweep endgame with the Talonflame. I feel like this is a very cool team. I feel like this team has a lot of play and I kind of want to try this one out for sure. I think this is going to be a fun one for sure. Of course, we're not running the crazy overpowered Pokemon here with insane amount of bulk, but I think it's a fun one to play, so nonetheless going to be great. Tricky, can be electric type Pokemon, but as the Lantern gonna get nerfed on Monday, it's still not going to be available, by the way, for today and for tomorrow. Yeah, basically, I think that's kind of the best electric type Pokemon for the Ultra League currently is actually still the Lantern. So I doubt that we're gonna encounter too many of them. The next best one would be most likely the I guess Ampharos and also Galvantula are kind of okay. Ampharos I could see a little bit more. I don't have a team, by the way, for Ampharos. Just kind of did slip through the cracks here. But yeah, still Ampharos could be a little bit of an issue for this team. But let's move on to team number 4. Thunder Punch on Scrafty might be actually ideal for this Pokemon. At least it's the recommended moveset now on PvPoke as well. We're going to have the Skeledirge in the lead, the Say-Swap of the Feraligatr and the Scrafty in the back. I feel like this is going to be a great team. Why? Because the Skeledirge can actually counter any kind of Fairy-type Pokemon that you don't want to face. And it's just kind of great in general for the Pokemon that you don't want to encounter here. Scrafty can beat something like a Feraligatr, which you don't want to encounter as a Skeledirge. Feraligatr, our own here as a Say-Swap. You can use the normal variant, you can use the Shadow variant. Use whatever variant you have available for you, and people always complain about how I say available. Yes, I'm not from Great Britain or US, sorry about that, but let's move on to team number 5. Moving on, counter Lokix. This Pokemon is going to be also an interesting one. You need it fully XL. I don't think it's going to be too great in this kind of meta, to be fair, as you're gonna see as well. I actually think it is better in the open Ultra League compared to the Ultra League, yeah, what's called here, not the remix, it's the, yeah, one without the legendaries, of course. So basically the cool thing about Lokix is you would be able to most likely do some damage against something like a Registeel because you have counter, or something like a yeah, like those Cressalias, those like Giratinas because you have Dark Pulse, but here all of those Pokemon are kind of banned, so not too sure. Don't think it's going to be the craziest Pokemon ever, but maybe it still has some play. Who knows? Here would be a team for you if you want to use it. Of course, I kind of want to also focus on a few of the Pokemon that are kind of buffed this time around, but not all of them, unlike the Great League video. So, some classic Dragon line. If you really want to climb some early ranks here, this would be something that I would really recommend you to try out if you have especially the Skarmory available here. Empoleon is also totally fine, also Shadow Empoleon is kind of fine. But yeah, Kommo-o, Dragonite, Shadow Dragonite would be better, by the way. Or the Goodra, all of them fine in the lead. Say Stop for Alligator, Empoleon in the back. Easy peasy. You will most likely win around like 60+% of your battles with this team if you play it right. It is quite predictable, but it's also just quite overpowered, I have to say. Like, I think it's one of the best teams that you can run, hands down, in both Great League as well as Ultra League right now. Very likely that there's going to be changes towards this as well, I would imagine, in the next season. I feel like next season is going to be kind of crazy, but yeah, we have to see it towards that. But yeah, now we're going to still have kind of the same meta as last season. No Swift. I don't think Swift would be ever better here for this team on Clefable. Why? Because the Clefable is supposed to counter also Fairy-type Pokemon, and Clefable is the only Fairy-type Pokemon that can really counter Fairy-type Pokemon other than the Weezing Galarian form, because you have the Poison typing. But here, Clefable is going to have Meteor Mesh, which is going to be able to counter those other Fairy-type Pokemon. And that's kind of great for Greninja. Greninja does not want to really face Fairy-type Pokemon or Fang-type Pokemon, and so we have two good answers for those in the back here. Kind of one of the best teams that you can run most likely around Greninja. I played it last time around, this Cup was around as well. Was a lot of fun. I think this is a cool team for sure, but let me know in the comment section what do you think about this team, and let me know in general in the comment section what team are you going to play for this season, or like for this week here. Are you going to play Great League? Are you going to play Ultra League Premier Cup? Let me know down below. Would really be interesting for me also towards like what kind of content I'm supposed to do for you guys. But let's move on to team number 8. Team number 8, we're going to have here a team that I love to play for the Great League, and we're going to take a look here at the Ultra League variant of this one. I think I also kind of showcased this last time around. I think it's a great team to use. Magnezone, Annihilate, Pelipper, there's next to no Pokemon that can really destroy this one. Dragalge, I guess. Dragalge could be a little bit of an issue. Gliscor, I guess, could be a little bit of an issue, but you can even, yeah, here we're running Ice Punch actually on the Annihilate as well. You can run Night Slash, you can run Ice Punch, you can run Night Slash and Ice Punch on it, which I like quite a lot. Depends on really what you want to run, and depends on like kind of what you really want to play with. For me, I really like the Night Slash and Ice Punch variant of this Pokemon because you're just going to have always perfect coverage, but it depends on what you kind of want to run here anyway, but this team definitely still should work out pretty well. Moving on to team number 9, this is going to be a standard line for the Open Ultra League, because Talonflame, Gallade, or Annihilate, or the Greedent, as I say, so I like Pokemon that you're going to see like even in the Open Ultra League, and that's like a team that you can see there as well quite often. Using either the Talonflame or the Pidgeot, both of them are going to be fine. You're going to have already good answers for Fighting type, not for Fighting type Pokemon, for Steel type Pokemon, that's what I want to say, or Rock type Pokemon in the back here with all of the picks that you can choose from. Like, literally doesn't matter. Like, if you want to go for Greedent, say so, and Swampert in the bag with any of the leads, it doesn't matter. Like, all of those Pokemon are kind of usable together, so definitely give it a try. I think this is going to be a solid lineup to play for the Ultra League Remix. Not Remix, it's Premier Cup. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. We can move on to team number 10. Final one for today, I kind of want to have one with Incinerate Typhlosion, because I feel like a lot of people kind of want to see the insane amount of damage of this Pokemon. And here, I feel like this is going to be a solid team. If you don't want to have the spicy move of the Typhlosion there, you can also go for Tentacruel, which is just the same but lame. But Poliwrath as a Sazop can bait out basically most of the Pokemon that you don't want to face as a Dragonite, which is kind of cool. We have 2 good answers against those Steel-type Pokemon. We have even Steel-type coverage on the Dragonite with Superpower, and I feel like this team should work out quite well. Issues might be in the lead, something like Jellicent for sure. Jellicent can be a little bit of a trickier one, or even something like Skeldritch, but Skeldritch is again kind of okay though. It really depends, but I feel like this team still should work out quite well, and I think it's going to be a fun one to use. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. I would really appreciate it. And I see you then later on for some hidden picks that you might not expect that are going to be better this season for the Great League. So stay tuned, and I see you then. Bye-bye.